Hello friends, welcome to Insights I Can Initiative. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a very important issue which is an interaction between the judiciary and women. So judiciary, Supreme Court came up with a particular guidelines to reduce the women stereotypes and the gender stereotype. We are going to look. Of course, the book name is known as Handbook on Combating the Gender Stereotypes. Here, this book is recommending some alternative names to the present names. The present names are reflecting certain stereotypes in women and gender discrimination. So let us examine what this handbook is talking about and what kind of words we are using now and what words this handbook is suggesting and what are the reasons for the stereotypes and all these things. First, as usually, let us go through the syllabus mapping, then we will discuss the video components. And of course, I'll explain some of the gender discrimination, not now. This gender discrimination even started way back in Aristotle. Philosopher like Aristotle, he even denied citizenship to women. We will take that kind of example also. Now, first let us focus on the syllabus mapping. This topic is related to Gender Studies Paper 2, Constitution, Judiciary, as well as Government Policies and Intervention. Okay, now, with respect to video components, in this video, we are going to discuss first what is the context, why it is in news, then what is this handbook is all about, and what kind of gender stereotypes we are having. Then we will discuss about reasons for such kind of gender stereotypes, and what is the impact of that gender stereotype, what kind of steps we've taken so far to reduce the gender stereotype, and why it is important, especially in the judiciary, to reduce this kind of gender stereotypes, and what are the similar efforts taken by some other countries to reduce this kind of gender stereotypes we are going to discuss. First you have to understand stereotype is your perspective. Your perspective that is having the fixed mindset. That is a stereotype. Generally we use the word stereotype in a negative connotation. When you have a fixed mindset in a negative way, that is where we use the word stereotype. So the stereotype we are going to discuss here is related to gender. You know already that Article 15 of the Indian Constitution prohibits the discrimination based on the gender. Not only the Article 15, even Article 16 in terms of employment, and there are some other articles also there regarding gender discrimination. Let us see the details of this video. First, why it is in news. Supreme Court recently launched the handbook on combating gender stereotypes. That means how to reduce these gender stereotypes. Actually, these gender stereotypes are much associated with the language. This particular thing is in the judicial language, there are certain words which are contributing to gender discrimination. So they are going to replace those words. So forget about judiciary. First, let us see. For example, in previous times, in movies, we used to use actor, actress. Okay. Now we are using the single word, that is male actor, female actor. That means we are giving equal importance to even the female also. That's the reason we are using the word female actors. Okay. Previously, this kind of thing we are using in sports also a lot. So with respect to this, now come back to the judiciary. Let us see further details regarding this handbook. First, why these kind of gender stereotypes are there? Let us see. Gender stereotypes started actually because the people believe that women are generally emotional and illogical and they cannot take their decision. Based on this premise, these stereotypes were evolved. For better understanding this, first let us consider, a philosopher called Aristotle. Aristotle denied citizenship to women. Do you know what reasons he cited? He denied citizenship to women just because women were over emotional. And they are not rational. These kind of conclusive remarks made by Aristotle, and he supported these arguments with respect to denying of citizenship to women. The same kind of thinking about women is related to this kind of gender stereotypes. And of course, the reality is, the stereotype is this one. What is the reality? The reality is, in fact, gender will not determine regarding the one's capacity about rational thought. Rational thought is about a person's knowledge, a person's mental faculty. Those are the things which affect the reasoning. It's not about the gender. Okay, next. Gender stereotype is also because there are certain assumptions about women character. These assumptions are developed based on women dressing. Sometimes some politicians, they are commenting that just because of those women dressing only, they are being subjected to the molestation, they have been subjected to the sexual harassment. So these kind of belief system is also contributing to this kind of stereotypes. Okay, and of course these kind of assumptions, even it is also affecting the judicial assessment, especially the cases involving the sexual violence. So to overcome these gender stereotypes, obviously we should use some words which are neutral in terms of gender neutral words, or else the words which should replace the gender stereotype. We will see those kind of words also. Okay, there are certain words we are using. For example, here previously adulteress. Adulteress is a word we used to use for women. Now we are going to replace that woman who has engaged in sexual relationship outside the marriage. This word is going to be there instead of adulteress. Next, previously we used to use the word bastard. Bastard. Now instead of bastard we are using the word non-marital child, or child whose parents were not married. So see what kind of language we are substituting. Carnal intercourse. Now it is going to substitute with sexual intercourse. Let's see. Next one is like eve teasing. It is going to be replaced with the street sexual harassment. Very popularly, housewife is going to be replaced with homemaker. So many times, even I suggested to students also in UPSC interviews and group 1 interviews that when they are saying about their mother rather than a housewife, it is better to use the word homemaker. This kind of prostitute is going to be replaced with sex worker. And so concubine, generally we use the word keep of a person. It is going to be replaced with woman with whom a man has sexual or romantic relationship outside the marriage. So this is how we are going to replace very harsh gender stereotype words with very subtle gender neutral words. That is this handbook is all about. Okay, tell me students, because we are discussing about women, tell me the National Commission for Women, it is a statutory body or constitutional body? Answer your question. Put your answer in comments. This National Commission for Women, what is the nature of this body, whether it is a constitutional body or statutory body, and who is the chairman of the National Commission for Women, who is the present chairman of National Commission for Women? Put your answer in comment section. What is this handbook? This handbook is going to be help to judges while giving the judgments to combat the stereotypes about women. So what it identified? It identified that there are certain words which are indicating the stereotypes, and those words have to be replaced, and that those words being suggested in this. Even 2017, when Supreme Court was giving the judgment in Nirbhaya case also, judges were compelled to use such kind of words which are reflecting the women's stereotypes, because they don't have any alternative words while they are pronouncing the judgment. This book, it is suggested the alternative language. Some of the words I told you already. Instead of using the word seductress, whore, or woman of loose morals, instead of that, the word woman is going to be used. Instead of the hooker, prostitute, the word sex worker is going to be used. The word eve teasing is going to be substituted with the street sexual harassment. Housewife is going to be used by homemaker. These kind of words are going to be replaced. What is the significance of language? Language is very important, especially in judiciary, because what words you are using, that reflects your perception about the society. For example, if you use these old words such as keep, whore, that reflecting your perception about the woman. So language plays very important role. That too, the language used by judge, the language used in the judgment copies, that matters a lot. That even shape the thinking of people also. Okay, and even it related to the dignity of the woman as well. Gender stereotypes, these are in very deep. I told you this is not new now. It's been deep rooted for centuries. I given an example even from the Aristotle age as well. And because of these, women being not got the proper equal opportunities with men, and lot of impacts is also there on women because of these stereotypes. Let us see what is the impact of these stereotypes. Anyhow, first we will discuss what are the reasons for this kind of gender stereotypes. The reasons are, first one is historical perspective. We have seen the system like sati. and widows not allowed to marriage, child marriages. These are some of the historical examples. Patriarchy, giving more importance to male. We have seen Aristotle, while describing about family, Aristotle said that men should rule the woman and men should rule children, men should rule slave. This kind of patriarchy. Traditional family structure, same related to that. And religious and cultural beliefs, we have seen in few religions, even they allow the polygamy, which, so dilute the status of women in a family system. Media influence, lack of proper representation, still the women reservation bill is pending. You know that there is no political reservation to women in both Lok Sabha as well as Assembly. Of course, in only local governments, women are having the reservations of 1/3 seats. And the peer pressure, if you are giving much respect to your wife, some of your friends sometimes they may mock you. Okay, this person is excessively obedient to wife and all these kind of things. Then economic factors, because generally in a family, man is a breadwinner. In that kind of condition, also a lot of discrimination is on women. These are the reasons. And what is the impact on individual as well as the society? The impact is obviously it resulted to limited opportunities to women, and the violence, it leads to discrimination on women in various sectors, education and employment. It affects the mental health psychologically, and educational achievements will be lower. In family, women will be relegated to the backstage, and economic disparities, women will not get proper opportunities. These are the impacts of the gender stereotypes. Then, what are the steps taken by the government to address this kind of gender stereotypes? Of course, government was not mute spectator. Government took some initiatives. What are those initiatives? We are going to check. Those initiatives are with respect to legal framework. Government of India already enacted certain legislation that is known as Domestic Violence Act, which is popularly known as, and of course, the second one is Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace. You know that this was originated with Vishaka guidelines. Vishaka NGO was the state of Rajasthan. In this case, Supreme Court given guidelines, and later that resulted to the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act. Educational initiatives such as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, these kind of initiatives. Economic empowerment by giving more importance to women in programs such as National Rural Livelihood Mission and SHG, self-help groups, and the civil society organizations, women banks, and the micro credit facilities. These are some of the initiatives by government to promote the women's economic opportunities. Then reservation policies, reservation in employment and reservation in education. Article 15, Clause 3, which deals with the special provisions to women. 15.4, special provisions to women and children in education opportunities. Whereas in terms of employment, Article 16.4. Okay. Next, gender budgeting, separate budget to the gender. Health and reproductive rights regarding, providing facilities to promote the institutional delivery of women. Similar effort in other countries. There are some projects are going on in other countries to reduce the gender stereotypes. If you take an example like countries in where, where this, Canada. Yes, in Canada, they have put up an efforts which resulted to, all the women's in law, academics, and, in various other sectors, they compiled shadow judgments related to equality of law. So this is one of the efforts in Canada, and of course such kind of similar efforts are going across the globe. Especially in the Scandinavian countries, this kind of gender parity was much more. They achieved gender equality greater in term with compared to other countries. What are the challenges? Still there are deep-rooted beliefs regarding the discrimination on women. Still lack of access in terms of health, in terms of education and opportunities to women, and structural inequality in terms of family and in terms of society such as caste and all these things. These are the challenges to overcome the gender inequalities. What is the way forward? The only way forward is obviously governments have to concentrate on the education, women empowerment program, and the community engagement. That means encouraging youth and children in various programs which are aiming towards reducing the gender discrimination. What is the conclusion? The conclusion is we require a comprehensive strategy which include education, media, and policy transformation, and social adjustment. All these are very imperative to overcome the gender stereotype. Now let us see the last video question. The question is regarding the Aditya L1 mission. The answer is, out of the three statements, the two statements are right. Statement second one and third one both are right. Then today's video question. Let us see the today's video question. Today's video question is, chairpersons under sexual harassment of women at workplace, Act 2013 Mains. Who are going to be the chairman of this committee? Mains. How can India proactively tackle and eradicate the gender stereotypes? How gender stereotypes were tackled? What is the significance of this endeavor for social progress and individual well-being? How this is related to, like how it is helping to the social progress as well as individual well-being. This is the main question. As we reach to the end of this video, let us do the quick revision regarding the whatever we learn in this video. This video is about the handbook on the gender stereotypes. We discussed about why this handbook was essential and what is the impact of gender stereotypes in judgments and why it matters, why the language matters, which words are going to be replaced with what words. We have gone through certain sample words and why these gender stereotypes been started, what is the impact of this, still what are the challenges in overcoming these gender stereotypes, and what are the government initiatives to overcome the gender stereotypes. These are the things we discussed in this video, and this is the detailed analysis regarding the Supreme Court handbook on combating the gender stereotypes.